Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Good morning to Twitch. I am a little bit out of sorts here. I've got my lights turned on yet. There we go. That should look better. Hey, I see there's a raid coming. Keysource 6 with the raid. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You raided just as the trivia was ending. So good to see you. Rudix World. How we doing? Fun, fun, fun. LOL. I love it. Thank you all for coming here today. Hey, Keysource 6. Appreciate the raid. Thank you very much. Let's give Keysource 6 a little bit of love here. And check out Keysource 6's channel. I don't know if Keysource 6 is a team member. I've kind of lost track because we have a huge amount of team members now. But if you are, welcome. And if you're not, welcome anyway. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. So, this is number 90 of office hours here. You just joined a day or two ago. Excellent. Welcome to the team, Keysource 6. You may want to stay tuned. I've got some team related business happening. Oh, Keysource into AWS. That's cool. Dabbled in a little AWS myself. I'm more of an Azure user, but did a little Elastic Beanstalk and some AWS stuff recently. Dabbled in it just a little bit. What's going on, Code Stencil? I'm glad you're here too. Let me make sure all my little bells and whistles are on here. It looks like they are. Okay, good. Greetings to you. So today, I think the biggest piece of news today. Hey, Copper Beardy, what's going on, Copper Beardy? Copper Beardy, I every morning I wake up and I see a Twitch notification that you started streaming. Like every morning, and you're just streaming on the regular now. Now I know you're on UK time, so it's probably even before I wake up that email arrives. But Copper Beardy, another teammate, I think deserves a shout. Everyone deserves a shout, really. But Copper Beardy is streaming on the regular. Great stuff. Go check that out. All right. So, yes, I've got this package here. I've got this lovely package here. And, very large package, as you can see, from the United States Postal Service. It's just marbles in the morning. Just marbles, huh? Like the game, like I don't think I've actually played, but like marbles where you like flick marbles around and have like the big smasher marble and stuff like that. I didn't know anybody still played that. For some reason that had like a 1950s feel to it. I don't know. That's pretty cool. The stream game. Oh, there's a stream game called Marbles. Okay. Is it based on the old it's not tabletop game. It's marble racing. Okay. You know what? I have the internet. I can use it to get an idea of what the heck this is. Marble racing. Oh, so it's marbles and they race on like a track. Okay, that's pretty cool. In a world gripped by fear, marble racing proves welcome distraction. So it's like Hot Wheels kinda or Matchbox cars, but it's marbles on the track. Oh, that's pretty cool. If I was more of a morning person, I would tune in and watch a little bit of that. I could watch a recorded episode maybe on your Twitch stream. Cool, marble racing. So I got that package. We're going to get to that in a second. We got to take care of some business first.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Surly Dev. Oh, it's not. Okay, it's computer generated marbles. Welcome, Surly Dev. Okay, so it's not an actual track. Man, you got my hopes all up. I was hoping to see elaborate plastic track in your home, Copper Beardy, and you see rolling marbles around on it. But I don't know. That might still be interesting. Computer generated marbles. All right. Still, interesting stuff. Google Marbles on Stream, Pixel by Pixel Studios. You know, Surly Dev, when you tell me to Google things, it makes me a little nervous. I'm gotta be honest, but I'll do it. That sounds relatively. Oh, okay. It's like a okay. This one is like a Google app or like a Android app. Marbles on Stream. It's a game played on stream where viewers can join the marble race to compete for positions in the global leaderboard. Huh, alright. Look at that. You can customize your marbles, all kinds of stuff. That's the mobile companion app. All right. Pixel by Pixel Studios. Marbles on stream. Wow, this is quite a thing going on here. All right. Marbles on stream. There you go. Those look like a Pokeball there a little bit. The basic game runs on streamer's PC and you play in chat. Oh, okay. Cool. Interactive game for, it's kind of like a Jackbox sort of thing. You host it on the screen and people play along with in the chat or whatever. Interesting. Cool. Okay, so we're going to get to that package today. I promise we'll get to that. And let's get some business taken care of first. So this is a stream that is very question friendly. We're happy to go on tangents here. Do not feel like your question is too stupid to ask. That is not the case in this channel. Ask away. This is a safe place to ask questions. And you're not going to get called a noob or dumb or anything like that. Ask away. I am a member of Team Live Coders. I mentioned this already. And I think I can show a little command here that'll take you to where I'm about to show you. But this is something that KSOR6 is newly a member of, 192. I see the number has gone up. And here's a list of people who are streaming right now. So you can see C# Fritz, kind of our team leader, our team captain, if you will, or whatever it is. He is streaming right now. So we've got that going on. Not a lot of people streaming at the moment. Probably because C# Fritz is streaming. But this is a place you can go anytime to see people who are streaming about coding and live coding and other things, of course, like Marbles on Stream. And even use the Sizzy.co browser. Sizzy.co. I have not even heard of it. Browser for developers. Now, I do remember I was at an event. And Oh, thank you for the host there, Copperbeardy. Appreciate that. Haven't seen that host graphic in a long time. That's cool. Someone came by the booth. I was working at an event. Oh, hey, thanks to follow KSOR6. Appreciate that. I can't remember. It was Sizzy or some other browser. Maybe this was a developers week or I don't remember. Some conference I was at. And he came up and he started talking to me about a browser that he was working on. I don't think it was open source, but it was a browser he was working on. It was based on Chromium, I think. But it was like this. It was a browser meant for developers. It was not a browser meant to be used by, the general public. And it had, debugging features, and I can't remember all the specifics. I mean, this might have been it. I don't remember exactly if this is the one. I remember coming to the website and checking it out, but I didn't go any further than that. So that's interesting. The screenshot. Yeah, I remember screenshot. Because that is a pain sometimes. You want to screenshot more than what fits on the screen, but you don't want to have to stitch it together. So that's kind of helpful. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So these days, I'm pretty much a Chrome user, and I also, especially on Android, I use a lot of Brave. And I use Brave occasionally on desktop, especially if I'm recording videos. I like to use Brave, like my Pluralsight course. I use Brave exclusively, not because it gives anything extra in that particular course, but just because I wanted to keep what I browse separate from what I'm actually sharing on the stream. But I use Brave exclusively on my Android device, and I love it. That is a great mobile browser. Use Brave all the time now, really fast. Yeah, it's fast. It's got the Brave on desktop anyway. I don't think on Android includes this yet. One of the things I like, which I find handy from time to time, and this is maybe because, another kind of a developer feature that I'm sure Sizzy might benefit from as well, but you can always go to new private windows in Chrome, but Brave has a new private window with Tor built in. So if I want to even go a next step and say, no cookies, and I don't even want to use the same IP address to test out this website or test out something. I can just open a whole new private window with Tor and go through the Tor network. Now it's going to be slower, right? It's not intended for video and large downloads, things like that. But Tor can really, having it built in is super nice. I don't have to run the separate Tor app and make sure Tor is working, all those sorts of things. I can just launch it right here in Brave. That's a really cool thing. And of course, there's the deal with Brave actually pays you some cryptocurrency for looking at Brave ads, and that's a nice little side effect as well. And you can use that cryptocurrency to tip people, like a microtransaction things, or you can just take the money out and convert it into U.S. dollars or pounds or euros or whatever, and spend it. So really cool feature. So thanks for sharing that. Brave doesn't work with your bank financial websites. Yeah, you probably have to turn off the what do they call it? They call it the shields. You have to turn off the shields to work with some sites, right? So if I go to one of my banks, for instance, I go to Citi.com. What you can do is you can click the little lion icon here, and you can shields down, right? So that'll enable trackers and scripts and things like that. Sometimes you gotta do that, but it's pretty rare. I find it to be pretty rare. Oh, so anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, live coders. Check it out. Twitch.tv/live coders. All right, where to next? Another place, and Surly Dev is probably the main maintainer here. But you go to GitHub/BNB/awesome developer streams and get a much wider list of developers who are streaming on Twitch. Hey, it's Gamlor. Long time no here. Stream C. Yeah, it's been a little bit of time, Gamlor. Been a week or so. Good to see you. Glad you're back in here. Question from KSOR6. You using Linux here for streaming? Just moved to Linux myself after Windows 10 failed me by freezing after the recent upgrade. I am not using Linux as my main operating system. Can I post what, the awesome developer streaming? Yes. Another host. It is hosting day here. Thanks, Surly Dev. This is the link. This is the GitHub Awesome Developer Streams link. You can go check this out, and you can submit yourself. Anyway, KeySource 6. I don't use Linux as my main operating system. I used to use Linux as a media server, and I recently changed it over to Windows 10. However, I do use Linux from time to time here in Windows 10, Windows subsystem for Linux. I've used it in the stream in the past, actually. If I need to drop into Linux for some reason, I can bring up a bash terminal here in Ubuntu and run it in Windows 10. Recent upgrade. So I don't know, today's Tuesday, so I would expect my upgrades have already been installed. So I haven't had any trouble with it. Sorry to hear that you have, but I'm glad to hear that Linux is working for you. Which distro are you on, KeySource 6? I am a fan of Ubuntu Linux distro, but there's lots of other choices out there. I was using WSL2 quite a lot. Win 10 2004 failed me a week or two ago. Yeah, 2004. I think that's the one I've been either waiting on or has one with WSL2 stuff in it. I don't know if I've gotten that one yet. Let me just see if I can find out the version of stuff here. I can never remember how to figure out the version of Windows that I'm on. WinVer.exe. WinVer.exe. Here we go. So I'm on 1909. So I guess I've not got the 2004 update yet. Haxor. You haxered me. You haxered. Okay. But yeah, I can never remember the WinVer. 1909. Do not update it. I'm afraid I'm going to update it, KeySource 6. I have not, I'm going to do it. I'm going full speed ahead on that. So, but I will keep that in mind if you're having problems with it. What's going on there? Because I do want to try out the WSL2 stuff, and I think I need 2004 to do that. So, but using Ubuntu, mostly stripped from its UI and replaced it with i3WM. I don't know what i3WM is. And I have your WSL2 Alpine distro in a Chroot, which I don't know what a Chroot is. It sounds familiar. I've heard the term before. Yes, I have been warned. I have been warned. Yes. I do not expect to switch over to Linux for my desktop anytime soon. I'm mainly a .NET developer, which doesn't mean you have to be on Windows these days, but generally speaking, I spend a lot of time in Visual Studio. And so I'm going to stay there. If I switch to Linux, I'd have to I could still write .NET, but I have to switch over to Writer, not Project Writer, but Writer from JetBrains, and or Visual Studio Code, which are totally great tools. But I really like Visual Studio, really like ReSharper. It's just kind of the comfortable environment for me. But it is good to have a little warning, heads up, if I see something going wrong after 2004 is updated, then I will think back and yes, KeySource 6, I'll probably have forgotten your name, but there was that guy in the stream who warned me something was going to happen. So I'll see if there's any fixes out for you yet. Okay, so this has been updated 16 hours ago. I want to do a quick search here for my favorite keyword, data. Hey, Estevez, Luis 1. Never used WSL2. Thank you for hanging out, Estevez. Luis 1. Glad you're here. And I don't have 2004 yet, so I don't think I can use WSL2 unless I get myself on like a VM of like Windows Preview or something. Gamlor's got a sizable note here. I had Windows updates fail on me in the past. I had Linux distro updates fail on me in the past. Both are unpleasant. Windows is better at repairing itself, but if that fails, good luck. Linux isn't that great at repairing itself, but you have a higher chance of fixing it. Anyway, that's my impression when running Windows and Linux on the desktop. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair impression of it. And of course, a lot of people's opinions on one or the other are colored by their experiences, 4 or 5 years ago, right? When Windows and Linux desktop were very, very different. Or even 10 years ago. Or even 15, 20 years ago. People were like, I tried Linux that 1 month back in 1999 and I hated it. So I'm never using Linux again. Or, you hear this like, Microsoft, everything is closed source and is Windows only, so I'm never using it. Meanwhile, Microsoft, .NET is now open source, cross-platform, and most of Azure runs on Linux, et cetera, et cetera. So some people, they get an idea in their mind, it just kind of sticks there, and they don't really have reason to go back and re-examine it, which is, that's just the way people are. No problem. It's cool. You're still welcome here. CodeStencil installed Writer the first time yesterday. Wasn't able to view my WinForm window. Am I missing something? A Writer only does code. No display of WPF or WinForm windows. So I think with Writer, it runs cross-platform, but WinForms and WPF are not cross-platform, at least not yet. So I don't, if you're on Linux, it probably isn't going to work. And if you're on Windows, it might not have, like Gamlor was saying, it might not have a WinForms editor yet. Although I think, geez Louise, I should know this because I read all the Writer blog post releases and stuff. I remember there being something about WinForms support either coming up or in preview or roadmap or something like that. But I don't think it'd probably be as good as a Visual Studio editor, at least to begin with. But knowing JetBrains' team, they're going to get up to speed very quickly on that. If that is their goal, I don't even know for sure. So I have a lot of confidence in JetBrains developers to make good stuff. But yeah, it'll take time to get it to a similar level as Visual Studio. Writer, however, as just evidence of that, like Writer, starting out, it was not nearly as full-featured as Visual Studio, but it has come a long way since then, and even has some stuff that Visual Studio, obviously stuff that Visual Studio can't and doesn't do. So, yes, it's cool stuff. Definitely check out. I love the JetBrains stuff. Love Writer. Love ReSharper, and I really like Writer. Writer is basically like take out the goodness of ReSharper and put it into IntelliJ. That's kind of what they've done there. So, very cool stuff. And anyway, searching for my keyword, which is data. I like to find streamers who are talking about data, databases, data querying, anything with data. And so Brent Ozar was my latest addition. I haven't got any notifications about him yet. I'm following him on Twitch. I'm going to have to see what's going on there. He may not stream on a regular basis. I don't know. So, but he'll be a good one to follow for SQL Server specific stuff. Liz Phillips, there's me, Matt Groves. I stream about databases, of course, Couchbase, SQL, SQL++, NoSQL, and then .NET, C#, ASP.NET on the back end. Rachel Tapman, Shirley Woo, Ted Young, and Go Maestro Go, Jack Mott, on the data structures, which isn't quite the same thing, but still interesting. These are all people that I follow, and I like to check this list every time it's updated to see if there's new people who are streaming about data topics that I could follow. So that's Awesome Developer Streaming List. If you want to check out previous office hours streams, you can go to bit.ly/GrovesTube. That's going to take you right to my YouTube channel where I publish everything after it's been broadcast. It's just been refreshed, so it's up to date with all the latest episodes are out there. So if you're the kind of person who likes to watch on YouTube, maybe at your own pace, maybe at 2x speed, you can skip parts of it if you want to, skip around, that sort of thing. Hello on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, all those great things. And feel free to ask questions there in the comments as well. I'm happy to address your questions the next time I stream. I got some more events coming up. So this Thursday, wait, is it Thursday? Yes, this Thursday, I'll be streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But before then, I will be on with Tail Learn Code. Give Tail Learn Code a quick shout out here. And I will be, so Tail Learn Code is Chad Green, and he is the sort of main organizer, head organizer of a conference called Codepalooza, which I should probably also promote. If I can remember the dates, I can't. Codepalooza is coming up as well. I'll be speaking at that. But I'll be interviewing. I'll just be hanging out with Chad here in Tail Learn Code, July 16th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And I will be talking to him about lots of stuff. But basically, we're going to. He's interviewing a lot of the speakers, or all of the speakers, as many as he can anyway, about themselves, and just trying to get the word out about Codepalooza, which is a great event. Junin Hawks, or Juninho X. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I'll just call you Junin for short. Is that all right? What are you programming? Right now, I'm not programming anything, but later on, we're going to be programming. I'm going to get to that here soon. We're going to get to what we're going to do today, Junin. We're going to get some business done first. The next thing I wanted to promote, this is something new, is Couchbase Connect Online. This is a event put on by Couchbase, and the CFP is open, and it's open. It's on Sessionize, and I'm really excited about this. And so this is open now, and it closes on August 21st. So you got plenty of time, but the event is going to take place October 14th and 15th. This will be a kind of a online, hybridy sort of live recorded event sort of thing. I mean, the details are still kind of in the works about exactly how it's going to work, but we're looking for, and by we I mean Couchbase, the Connect team, which I'm not exactly a member of the Connect team, but I am interested in helping them find some great speakers from the community to come and talk about Couchbase and NoSQL and their journey with if they're using Couchbase, or they're writing something with Couchbase, or they're comparing Couchbase to some other NoSQL technology. They have something to say about NoSQL, about open source, about being a developer with NoSQL. I want those people to submit to this conference. I really want this to be a heavily developer and community focused conference. And I'm really excited about this. So I've already been starting to reach out to people individually, but I wanted to just say it here on Twitch as well. If I haven't gotten to you yet, don't worry. I'm working my way down the list. But if you are interested in presenting something at this conference and talking to a lot of developers who are, either Couchbase customers or Couchbase users, or just the Couchbase engineers, Couchbase themselves, I would love for you to submit to this conference. So keep that in mind. Put it in the bookmarks. You don't have to do it right now, but just think about it. You've got some time to come up with a topic to present there at Couchbase. And I'll keep talking about this until the CFP closes. So I'm hoping that some of my regulars here who've done some cool Couchbase stuff will be interested in submitting. It doesn't have to be a super long session either. It could be a relatively short, 5, 10, 15 minutes sort of thing, up to 45 minutes type of full length thing. So I would love to see you submitted there. All right, and I just want to remind you. Oh, here's a question. Code Stencil, what is the best resource to get started with Couchbase? Yeah, gosh, the best resource to get started with Couchbase. I mean, we have done some stuff recently. This depends on what programming language you want to use. But if we go to, let's see, docs.couchbase.com. This has been updated recently. I want to go to tutorials. And so we've worked a lot on these developer bootstrap exercises. And my team has worked on these. And these are just examples to take you through putting your first piece of data in Couchbase and running your first query against Couchbase. And so we've done a few of these with just Couchbase, no coding. No SDK coding. We've done some with Java, with .NET. So these are the two I've written here with ASP.NET Core and .NET Core with Link. And then we've got some with Node as well. C#, yes. So I would recommend one of these two here. So with this ASP.NET Core, if you're into ASP.NET Core, if you're into web programming, this is where I would start. And I would definitely love your feedback on this, by the way, if you go this route, because I've written these, and if there's some sort of roadblock or something is confusing, I want to go in and fix that. The other example here this is just a console app, a .NET Core console app, and I use Visual Studio Code on this one instead of the full Visual Studio. And this also uses Link to Couchbase. TBD Gamer, welcome. Love it when a plan comes together. Glad you're here. And this one is oh man, some images are broken. That's a no good. I'm going to have to figure that out. But anyway, hey, Taylor and Code, I was just talking about you. Hey, please post a link. Yes. You want some links? I got links. So that's one for ASP.NET. That's one for Link. Sorry about the broken images there. The docs site recently went through a big upgrade, a big change. So I suspect something was wrong with those links, but it's really just Visual Studio Code screenshots. So nothing that you haven't seen before, I'm sure. Let me move the chat down a little bit. So it was a little high. How's everyone doing today? Today's my first day back in an office. Oh, really? So you're working for somebody that's actually decided to open up their offices. Wow. I don't think I've talked to anybody who's done that yet, TBD Gamer. So I would love to know more about that. Please share whatever details you're comfortable sharing. Even if there was a 100% effective vaccine that was able to distribute to all 6 billion people in the world tomorrow, I still wouldn't go back into an office. I'm still working here at home. But I would like to hear more about what's going on with that transition, TBD Gamer, and how's it going for you. But otherwise, yeah, I'm doing great. Getting some great questions here. So you can start there if those work for you. There's also a few getting started tutorials. Just if you go to docs.couchbase.com, you can start there. And there's some getting started tutorials here. And this is how to get started with Couchbase. And then there are some Hello World options here using SDKs. And then you can go up here, and it's Java by default, but you can also choose .NET, Go, Node, PHP, etc. So here's a Hello World example with .NET. You can check that out as well. So let me know. I mean, if you go through those Code Stencil, I'd love to hear your feedback on them, how we could improve them. What's missing, what's confusing, what wasn't clear to you, what's more trouble than it was worth. I would love to hear that feedback, Code Stencil, so please. TBD Gamer says, it's a tiered return. We have masks and hand sanitizer everywhere. I'll be honest, it didn't faze me, but now I'm not seeing any benefit in returning. I think, I said this before in the stream, this is a very, very cloudy year. There's lots of dark clouds and lots of bad things going on. But if I had to pick a silver lining to those clouds. It's a slim lining, but it's there. Is that people are hopefully being forced to deal with, do we really need people to come into offices all the time? Is there really a benefit to that? And so working from home, we're seeing that people can be just as productive, if not more productive, probably happier, and many people happier, and it may save us some costs. And we don't have to worry about, having masks and sanitizer and all these different protocols and, facility staff and paying rent and all these things. Is there really a benefit to them? Now, I think every company probably has to have at least one building, right? Somewhere. But, does it have to be everyone has to get a cubicle sort of thing? I'm in the office for 4 days, then work from home for 2 weeks. That cycle for 3 months. Interesting. 4 days and then 2 weeks. So 4 days in, 2 weeks out for 3 months. So I'm guessing they're just kind of, this is like you said, phase one. It's just taking a step in. Let's see how this goes. Get people back in, and we'll adjust what we learn, which is kind of a similar thing that businesses around here have been doing, and churches and schools are taking all kinds of different plans. You may have heard about that in the news. Different school districts are doing different things, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully things go well. I wanted to point out this as well. If you are a regular viewer here, you earn some channel bucks. So if you go down, it's over here somewhere. The little icon under the chat box there, you'll see it's called Buckazoids. And you'll earn those just for hanging out, clicking those treasure chest icons every once in a while. And, raids and hosting and all that kind of stuff. You can cash those Buckazoids in. I just added a new reward here. That if you pay enough Buckazoids, I will drop everything. And we'll play a game of trivia. Just like pre-show trivia, but it'll be interactive. With me hosting it as a terrible game show host, or we'll drop it and do a game of Jackbox, like Quiplash or Fibbage or something along those lines, of PG rated, by the way, PG, family friendly Jackbox. So feel free if you want to do that. Make sure there's enough interest in the chat room. If it's just you and me playing Jackbox, it's not going to be super fun, but happy to do that. I love playing some Jackbox, kind of like a Copper Beardy likes playing marbles on stream. I play a little Jackbox. We'll get everybody involved and interacting. It'll be great stuff. PG, that's me out. All right, let's get down to business here. So a quick review of what we've done in the past. I submitted a Couchbase Win-Get package, and I'm happy to say that this was merged. So if we go to to GitHub Win-Get, and we're going to Win-Get packages, PKGS. And if you go right now, I don't have verified emails. Yeah, I do. That's concerning. Anyway, if you go to Manifest, this is going to be a huge list now, getting bigger and bigger every day, taking longer and longer to load every day. Uh-oh. I hear a car alarm outside. Hang on just 1 second. Hang on. Good news, no one was stealing the car. I don't know why the alarm went off. I'll figure that out later. But the alarm is off for now. Anyway, here we are, Win-Get PKGS. So I go down to Couchbase, and you can see inside the Couchbase folder, Server community, server enterprise. You can see server was added last month by the great Calvin Allen. And so I decided, well, if he can do one for community, I can do one for enterprise. So I submitted a pull request for server enterprise 6.5.1. And here it is. It's merged in. And I'm not going to install it, but let's just see if we can find it here on Winget. So Winget, search Couchbase. What is it going to come up with? Look at that. There I am. So next time using Winget, do a search for Couchbase, and you'll see yours truly's pull request there included for Couchbase Server Enterprise 6.5.1. And now Winget is still very much like a beta, alpha, preview sort of thing. So, not all the Winget features are really there, but it's starting to grow, and you can see the manifest folder getting bigger and bigger here. Lots of different companies submitting PRs. Oh, that's the one for Twitch in there. Well, what is a Twitch? Twitch desktop app. There you go. So even the Twitch desktop app is in there. So if you have a software package that you want to be able to be installed quickly on Windows via the command line, kind of like apt-get on Linux, which Keros 6 would be familiar with, Ksor 6, sorry, familiar with using Ubuntu. This is kind of like the Windows version of apt-get. It's still, like I said, still in preview. It's going to eventually ship with Windows itself, and that will be a handy little thing to have. So that's done and merged. So cool. Azure Functions. So yeah, I did this on the previous stream. We found a great blog post to help with testing a timer function out. So that is done. I just did a quick spike on that. I submitted a pull request to Couchbase Fakeit, and that has also been merged. I'm just getting stuff merged in like crazy. So Couchbase Fakeit on GitHub. I did kind of the opposite with Couchbase Fakeit. So this is a repo that builds up Docker images of Couchbase server. Very productive. Yeah, we're talking like dozens of lines of typing here. If you consider that productive, then so be it. I was hoping J.R. Lawhorn would be around because I want to ask him some questions about this and just let him know that I did this actually. But Couchbase Fakeit is it's something that Brant Burnett here has created. It takes the stock Couchbase image and it adds some extra functionality to it, some opinionated things, to allow you to configure the Couchbase server by setting up buckets and setting up indexes and generating fake data and venting and all kinds of great stuff there. That normally you'd have to do a lot of work to script yourself, but he's done a lot of that work for us. And now up until recently, this was only enterprise versions of Couchbase server. Because that's all Brant is using is enterprise Couchbase, because they use it at the company he works at. And I know J.R. Lawhorn had said, well, I would consider using Couchbase Fakeit, except only enterprise is there. And so I should have asked JR, did he plan to submit a pull request to this, or would he be comfortable submitting a pull request to this? And I probably should have, asked him that before I just went right ahead and did it. If you're not going to submit a pull request, why not? Is it because you don't have time for it, which is completely reasonable, or whatever? We don't know how to, all those sorts of things. I probably should have been more helpful, J.R. Lawhorn, instead of just jumping ahead and doing it myself. But nevertheless, I did it. And so if you can see the pull request here, this is how productive I am, by the way, TBD Gamer. Here it is. This is my pull request, adding the latest community edition. 2 different commits. Here's the first one. I changed the word enterprise to community and put a note in the README. And the second one is I added community to the test matrix. Whew. So productive. And fortunately, that's all I needed to do. That passed all the tests. And notice here, Brant Burnett, very kind, very awesome guy, said sweet thanks and merged my pull request. And just by merging it, he's got it set up. If we go to hub.docker.com, And we'll do a quick search here for Couchbase Fake It. You can see that if we go under the tags here, Docker Hub, lots of enterprise, because he's using enterprise versions, but oh, look at this. Community 6.5.1, last updated 4 days ago. So not only does that pull request go into GitHub and get merged, but it automatically builds the image and pushes it out to Docker Hub. So there you go. Now you can use Couchbase Fake It with Community 6.5.1 with some caveats, right? Because some of the things that Couchbase Fake It does, I think just one thing, a couple things, memory optimized and events. Those are enterprise only features. So those aren't going to work, and or they may cause the Docker image to fail. But otherwise, it should be just fine. And I tested it out, and it seems to work great. I didn't test it exhaustively. He does have some automated tests in there that it passed. So far, so good on that. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll just cross that one off. And also played some Clash of Code last stream, which was kind of fun. The last one I played wasn't super fun, but I plan to do some more Clash of Code here on the stream. It's just a fun little way to hang out, write a little bit of code, challenge myself a little bit, and share that with you. And then if you all want to join in on those clashes, you can as well. So we did that, and so that may happen in the future. Speaking of the future, this Thursday, you don't want to miss this one, especially if you're interested in PHP, or even if you're not interested in PHP. You can check out some of the cool things that are happening in PHP with Laravel. We're going to have J.R. Lawhorn on as the guest, speaking of J.R. Lawhorn, and he's going to teach me some Laravel and teach me about this Laravel Couchbase module extension that he's forked and updated and used with his own Laravel efforts. So we're going to go through that. We're going to build like a sample app. We're going to discuss how is working with a NoSQL database in Laravel different? How is it the same working with other databases in Laravel? So it should be fun stuff. Chatbot features, that's always sort of on the horizon of things I want to do to improve the chatbot. I mentioned the C# Advent. I do a lot of C# in this channel. I just realized I'm finally getting to Junan's question from way back, like 20 minutes ago. So sorry for taking so long, Junan. But I do a lot of C# in this channel. If that's what you're asking for, a language, C# mainly, some SQL probably number 2, and then JavaScript would be probably a distant third, and then other languages as they come up. So we did some Ruby last week, and we're going to do some PHP on Thursday. And, whatever seems interesting, whatever seems like I'm going to learn something, whatever looks fun or educational. But C# Advent, this is something that's going to happen in December this year. And it's usually just an ad hoc blog post sort of thing that I do at crosscuttingconcerns.com. But I want to make it a little bit more interesting this year. Give it its own website and maybe make it a little more automated. Can't wait for December. 2020 will be almost over. I'm kind of with you, TBD Gamer. This is a year I want to put behind me, but unfortunately, it's not like December 31st is a magic day. But, well, here's hoping that things get better long before December 2020. A little bit of optimism won't help, or won't hurt, I should say. So today, answering questions. I've been doing that. I will continue to do that on an ongoing basis. The live coders unboxing, we're going to get to in just a minute here. After that, assuming that doesn't take all the rest of the stream, which I don't think it will, the next step with Azure Functions, is I want to get it talking to a Slack bot, which I don't think should be a major problem. I've done it with a console app already, and so kind of the idea here is I want an Azure function, maybe I want an Azure function to on a regular basis run and query some sources of information, APIs or RSS feeds or all the above, and then on a regular basis post to a internal Slack channel here at Couchbase with some information that my team and others, others around us here, other colleagues here at Couchbase would be interested in seeing on a regular basis. So I'm going to build that. And then if we have time, play some Clash of Code to round things off if I'm running short, and then assuming all that gets done, which we won't get there, but we can look at the chatbot backlog and see if we need to build any features there. One of the next things I want to do with the chatbot is probably just do, well, I don't know. There's lots of things I could do, but right now the chatbot, one of the things, yeah, I should probably look at backup and restore on the chatbot's data. There's lots of data in there right now, and I'm not backing it up at all. So I need to figure out some way to easily and automatically back up data on my chatbot Couchbase server. All right, so without further ado, let's get to the Live Coders unboxing. So it's a package that arrived from the Live Coders. And just before I unbox, I want to show you, this is the jersey I got last year from joining the Live Coders. You see the Live Coders logo there on front. And on the back, it's customized to whatever I want it to say. So I asked for my Twitch name, Matthew D. Groves, and the number 17. Why number 17, you ask? Well, 17 is actually the number of a probably obscure baseball player to most people. Oh, question from Gamlor. So is there managed Couchbase on Azure, which I can just fire up, and it would include the license, manage DB, etc. for me? I don't remember how Azure calls this like this. So, Gamlor, right now with Azure Couchbase, there's an Azure Marketplace, and it's going to include, it's going to charge you for licensing if you don't want to buy a license. If you don't bring your own license, for instance, that's one option, but you can also buy a license, I think, on Azure for Couchbase. However, it's not a managed instance of a Couchbase cluster. It is still going to create them on Azure VMs. So basically, you're still going to be managing them yourself, but it is an automated way to just fire it up. Now, however, that being said, there is, whoa, that's not going to work. Cloud.couchbase.com. This is the brand new offering from Couchbase. This is a completely managed database as a service, DBaaS, of Couchbase. So you can sign into Couchbase Cloud. Right now, this only supports AWS. So you have to run it on an AWS VPC, and this will manage the database for you, and the licensing, and the billing, and all those sorts of things inside your AWS account, AWS VPC. Azure is not currently supported, but it will be coming soon. So you will be able to fire it up on Azure soon. And on top of that, Google Cloud will be coming soon. So you'll be able to choose between AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and who knows what the future might bring. I'd love to see, DigitalOcean or I don't know, whoever else, Roku, whoever. Oracle Cloud would be good as well. But basically, any cloud provider with a Kubernetes implementation potentially could be managed by Couchbase Cloud. But what I'd also like to see, and this is ultimately what I would just love to see, is a free developer tier. So you don't even have to log in to a AWS VPC. You don't even have to do any of that. You just create an account and you get credentials, and it's free, so there's going to be some sort of limitation on it, right? But totally free way for you to try out Couchbase right there in the cloud for developers. And so that is hopefully coming very soon as well. I don't have any timelines or any promises for you on that, but that is what I am looking forward to. So Couchbase Cloud, you can start at cloud.couchbase.com, but I think if you go to couchbase.com/cloud, you could probably start here with more details. Sign up for a free trial. You can get like 30 days free trial of like I said, AWS right now, and get more details about what the DBaaS pricing, all that kind of stuff is. In my opinion, this is TBD Gamer. In my opinion, that's one of the hardest parts of developing in the cloud. Starting on your own is daunting, and the costs can run away quick. You're not wrong about that, TBD Gamer. And I will say, I talk about Azure a lot. I use Azure, but I feel like if I wasn't a Microsoft MVP, then I would be a little more gun shy about Azure. being an MVP, they give me some Azure credit every month. And so if I, accidentally spend $50 or $100 on something with Azure, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But if I'm a student or just trying to experiment and I mess something up and I run Cosmos DB and run some complicated query and boom, oh my gosh, those costs go up right away because I didn't index it properly or I didn't format my data model properly, and I suddenly get a huge Azure bill. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with TBD Gamer. So that's why I'd love to see that free tier for developers, so they can start experimenting, building cool stuff, and getting used to it, trying it out, and then bringing it to their employers or whoever, and saying, "Hey, this is pretty great. I tried the free version of it. It's got some limitations, but I loved it. It's how I want to use NoSQL. I think we should start, use this in our next project, and let's bring it into our AWS VPC and try it. That's the next step. So I can't wait for that. It's not there yet, but I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. Gambler often use cloud services for performance scale testing. You really want to check at the end of the day what still is running. Like if I forget to shut down GPU instances, that is pricey. Yes. And I think there are some services or some sort of reminder tool, and Azure may even offer some of this to say, hey, you sure you want to keep this running, or only run this for until the end of the day, something like that. Yeah, absolutely. What I prefer is, to define a ceiling and say, well, don't spend any more than this, or don't go above the free version. And if you do, just shut down. Just stop taking requests. Start throwing exceptions, right? I'm okay with that. Or 404 errors. As a developer, right? If I'm experimenting, I'd rather deal with that than have to deal with, I got a $500 bill because I kept running this expensive Cosmos DB query. All right, so that's Couchbase Cloud, and you're going to hear a lot more about Couchbase Cloud from me as the Azure comes out, and as especially as the developer tier comes out. I'm going to be talking about it all the time. I quickly learned, thank you to Cosmos, to put a spending limit on my account. Yes, and you can do that as well. You can also there's like a quota you can set on Azure to say, don't provision any more than 10 nodes of Kubernetes, things like that. And if you want to do that, you have to opt into it, that sort of thing. You had the same issue with Azure. Got a $200 bill from Microsoft. Didn't know I had some stuff turned on when I was testing, stuff I never used. Yeah, and that's going to be true of not just Azure, but any of those cloud providers. You got to be careful sometimes, and that is definitely a reason why I think a free offering, especially from Couchbase, which is, we're not Microsoft, right? We want you to use Couchbase. We don't want you, we're not interested in going into the business of being a cloud provider, right? So we just want you to try out Couchbase, and that's why I think a free tier, limited, right, but still free tier would be very cool. So anyway, if no one's guessed yet, number 17 is the number that Chris Sabo from the Cincinnati Reds wore, and that's why I picked 17. He was my favorite player growing up as a kid. Chris Sabo, 17. He wore glasses like me and was a really good hitter in the Reds, and so there we go. That was my first jersey from Team Live Coders. So now I'm going to, forgive me for a second here, I've got to do a little bit of work on this box. So what I've got here in my hand are some Couchbase stickers that I have laying around. I'm going to place these on the box, various parts of it, to cover up potentially sensitive information. The return address, my address, QR codes, UPC codes, things of this nature. Those are mobile. This is an analytics sticker. Oh, cool! It's kind of green screening out, but it's kind of like a sea green, like a sea foam green blue color. So we'll cover that right there. This next one is a Kubernetes sticker, also kind of green screened out. No, not really. Kubernetes sticker. This is a great package. We haven't even seen the package yet. Okay, and then one more sticker. We'll do another Kubernetes sticker. I'm just covering up the sensitive parts of the package. So you can, oh, you say you got yours already. Look at that. So now I've got the address label on there, covered up. So there's the box. It's a big one. I can barely fit it on camera here, and myself. So let's get it opened. All right. So I got my utility knife handy in case I need it, but I don't see any tape on here yet. Put the box here. Okay, and this is a Priority Mail. That tab is not coming up. What's going on here? What? Oh, there we go. Okay, so there we go. Opening it up. Oh, what we got there? Looks like some sort of bag here. What we got? Oh, it's heavy too. Oh, gosh. So that's all that's in the box there. Is this fine looking bag. Let's have a look at this. Oh, I got upside down. There we go. It's like a messenger bag with the Live Coders logo on it right there. Copper Beardy has not got mine yet, but I think Fritz shipped UK and European boxes yesterday. I was starting to get a little jealous because I've seen other people with their packages and their new swag, and I haven't gotten mine yet, but I was super happy to get it yesterday. And so this is a nice little bag. Well, oh, okay. Oh, it's a backpack. It's not a messenger bag. It's a backpack. Okay, it was just folded down to me. It looked like a messenger bag. There we go. Backpack. Okay. You know, I have a very good Couchbase backpack somewhere over here that I've used for 4 years straight up, and it's been beat up and tossed around by airplanes and buses, and it's been in 3 different countries and 2 different continents, and it's still going strong. So I don't know if I'm going to replace it with this one. This one I might just leave on display. Sometimes my wife and kids get to some of the swag that I get, and I don't think I'm going to share this with them. Don't tell them. Let's open up the bag here. There's some stuff in here for sure. It's very heavy. We got a little pouch in the front here of the bag. Or I can put some, I don't know, some snacks maybe. Or, something like a cell phone battery. Something along those lines. All right, what do we got? We've got this Live Coders. I don't know if you can see the indented, yeah, you can see it. Live Coders logo there on the notebook. This is very similar to some notebooks that I've got from with Couchbase logos on them, because it's got this little pen in it, which cool branded pen, Live Coders, but it's got this little handy thing on the tip, a little stylus. Let's see how well the stylus works. I'm going to try it on my phone. See if this can be, it's very lightweight. Let's see, let's just try a new picture. I draw stuff and do like little Photoshop-y things on my Android device from time to time. And, seems like it's working. So I use an app called, what is this called? It's called Ibis Paint. It's free, ad supported. It does everything that I really needed to do. So let's, that's not going to work. That's too fine of a line. Let's go this way. Oh, okay. There we go. Pretty good. Pretty good stylus there for drawing. I like it. Okay, great. So, very nice. Thank you for that cool pen and stylus. And this is a notebook here. I just noticed that almost a bunch of stickers in this notebook that almost all fell out when I opened up the notebook. So I'll put those aside for a second. There's a notebook, as you can see. It's got all kinds of blank pages in there. That would be fantastic for me to write my thoughts on if I had any. Oh, some of it's lined as well. Not all of it, but some of it is lined. Looks like most of it's lined. Pretty cool. And it's not a hard case. It's kind of a flexible, almost like, I don't know, like a faux leather. kind of cover there. So very cool. All right. See what kind of stickers we got here. Good stickers. So we've got stickers for our new mascots from Team Live Coders. I forget what their names are. Oh, there they are. Cody and Olive. And I think that's Cody on the left, who is like having a little question balloon. And Olive is just ignoring him with the headphones on. And there we go. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. They're both like have hedgehog hair, so I don't know which one is supposed to be Cody and which one's supposed to be Olive. But there you go. Cody and Olive, those are the mascots. I've got individual. Okay, no, now I can tell. This one is Cody because it says Cody there on the bottom of the sticker. So in this one, Cody is holding his phone facing us and looking at his laptop. Okay, so there you go. Cody kind of looks like, I don't know, got the collared shirt on, got the glasses. He seems a little more buttoned down than Olive. Olive seems much more fun. Olive's got the video game controller, showing us again the buttons on the video game controller, and got like a smaller laptop, fits in the hand, and it's got like a sweatshirt going and the tennis shoes, and so it's a little more fun-loving than Cody, I guess. They're both pretty cool and happy people, or not people. These are like some sort of creature, some sort of hedgehog. I don't know. Some sort of anthropomorphic animal. And everything else here is Octocats. So I got Octocats' hands around the world and showing the Atlantic Ocean there in the middle with all the Octocats. How many Octocats are there, do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 Octocats. Wouldn't it better if there's 8? Wouldn't that make more sense? Didn't realize this was going to turn into sticker criticism stream today. Here's a plain Octocat sticker. That one's good. That one's going around on the laptop there for sure. We got this Octocat that's got some sort of jetpack. Pretty cool. And this Octocat is like a video producer. He's got a boom mic and oldie time. Oh, well, I don't know if that's oldie time or not, but a camera there. So cool sticker pack there. Thank you for that. Those go in the book. One of those will go on the laptop later for sure. All right, what else is in here? Let's see. Hello in there. Oh, here we go. Trying to save some of the best stuff for last. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's an Octocat pin. I got just a place for that. I think it's here. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. Right back. Oh. Not here. Crud. Well, I can't find it, but I have a little, well, not little, but a pith hat that I use for yard work, and I put pins all over it. And this one would be a great addition for that. And it's got a really cool art style to it, like a little, I don't know, kind of like a little bit of Adventure Time sort of thing to it. I don't know. I'm not sure how to describe that. I like it. That's cool. That's going on my hat. All right. What else is in there? Yeah, coaster. I assume this is the a logo for one of our sponsors, I think. Let me just double check. I'm not sure. Coaster. I love coasters. I have a bunch of them already. I've got, speaking of, I got this Codepalooza coaster, which I still use every day. But I've got a new coaster now, add in my collection. Because I've got some boring, plain old, plain, and I love the cork ones, or the faux cork, whatever they are. I love those. So Codepalooza is what I use every day. I've got a couple of Codepalooza ones. Yeah, I've got Codepalooza. I've got a Coaster Palooza right here, and which I haven't used this in a while. I got a Code Mash one from 2018. Remind me of better times. So I've got those coasters there. Now I've got another one for my collection, which is this sort of, I don't know, Electron-looking Atom logo. Very cool. I've got another Live Coders pen, so now I've got two Live Coders pens / styluses. Very nice. I like that a lot. That can go in the garbage. Just a little plastic bag. All right, what else is in here? There's a lot of stuff in this thing. I'm loving it. Okay, what's this? What do we got here? What is this little guy? Tea. What in the world? So it's this little, like, I don't know, what you describe this, like a lacy tool sort of material. And it's all closed up with this ribbon, which I'm just making tighter, I guess. Oh gosh, there we go. I got it there. So what's in here is a perfect cup of tea. It's a spoon. Is that why they call them teaspoons? Is that really where they get the name from, the drink? Tea? So it says perfect cup of tea, and it's a spoon. I don't know if you can read that. Perfect cup of tea. Huh. What if I made my my camera feed a little bigger here? Whoa, I'm huge. There we go. Perfect cup of tea. There's a spoon in there. Very interesting. So, I don't know what that's for in terms of tea. What else we got? Dryad Tea, Night Owl's Delight, a Live Coders blend. So it's our, I don't know, you can see that, our own blend of tea. TBD, I've yet to try the tea. I was going to do that for stream tonight. Have a nice cup of Live Coders tea while streaming. That's a good idea. Sweet vanilla and honey lay the cake like base for light lemon overtones, reminiscent of a light vanilla lemon scone. This black tea might just help with the motivation for any late night projects. Well, mainly I'm looking for caffeine in my tea. It's got like a recipe, like what temperature you should make it at, all those sorts of things. So, what do I use this spoon to scoop out a certain amount of tea? Is that how it goes? There's some other things in here. There's another little bag inside the bag, which comes with. Oh, okay. Whoa! I think I just broke it. There's this little thing here, which I think that's for making tea, right? You put tea in there. I didn't break it. I just sort of pulled it apart. You can put tea in there and then use this to dip it. It's a measuring spoon for tea. You steep the tea. Yeah, steep. That's the word. I don't know why I would. I guess does it say how much to measure out? It says. It doesn't say how much to measure out of tea, so I don't know. So I just pulled this apart. Let me put this back together here. Okay, there we go. So it's this little tea steeper device thing. You put the tea in there and you steep it, let it sit in the tea. But on the other end of it, there are three D20. Is that how I say it? Don't forget to get your fortune read from the tea leaves. Okay, I'll have to do that. But it's interesting. It's got 3D20 here on the end of the thing, so you just use that as kind of a counterweight, I guess. And it looks like these die have been drilled through, so they're not terribly useful for actual die rolling. Let's see. A tea steeper is a tea tool that is used to contain loose tea leaves during infusion. Tea steepers basically function as tea bags, right? They're also called tea strainers and tea infusers. So there you go. So I just sort of pull this open, and then I can open it up, 2 halves, put the tea in there, close it up, and there we go. This is not terribly common here in the States. I've never had one in a house that I've lived in ever. Most tea in the States comes in the form of either pre-infused, like bottled tea, or canned, or it comes in tea bags. You get a big box of tea bags. So this is, I don't know if these are common out in the UK. You know, UK is much more tea being used there. There's historical reasons for this. But I'm guessing the fancier teas, you get the little infuser thing there. So there you go. Very cool. I'm not much of a tea drinker either. I don't not like tea. It's just not really my thing. But I'll have to make that for sure. Okay, and now the piece de resistance. This little guy right here. Make sure nothing else in the bag. Nope, nothing else in there. Put that aside. And now you get to hear a bunch of crackling noise. I get imported British tea. Ooh, fancy. You don't tend to throw tea in the sea. Well, then King George shouldn't have been taxing it then, huh? Or taxing it so unfairly, without any representation. But those were bygones. Let's let those bygones be bygones. All right, we've got here is a Live Coders jersey. This one feels different than the other one. Let me just grab that over here. It may be because this one's been through the wash already. This is the older one. It feels like a different material. Let's see if I can get a 100% polyester for the old one. What's this one here? This one is also 100% polyester. It looks, yeah, you can't see this, of course, but there are the two tags. They pretty much say the same thing. Custom Esports, same company. So one of them's been worn and washed. This one has not. So I'm guessing that's the difference. Or maybe this is a lighter blend. I don't know. But there it is. And you can see on the back of this shirt, I've gotten Couchbase. And I went with 19 this time, another baseball player. This is Joey Votto's number, 19. So put Couchbase on this one. That's who pays the bills around here, is my employer Couchbase. And which is what I did, by the way. Let me show you another jersey while I'm at it. I went with 40 because I turned 40 in May. I don't want people to know my age. So there's another conference, which, oh my gosh, it's getting really chroma keyed badly. I don't know why, because it's black and yellow. Maybe it's the lighting. But KCDC conference was sadly canceled this year. Also did this for their speakers. They gave all their speakers these these are like soccer jerseys, I think, soccer style jerseys. As you can see in the back, I did the exact same thing, Couchbase and 19 for my employer and for Joey Votto. So there you go. That's one I've hanging up here in my office. I don't really wear this. I don't wear this. Maybe I should, but I don't know. This is made for like athletes to wear. I'm not much of an athlete, but I did that with my Couchbase jersey, or not Couchbase, my Live Coders jersey. And so you can see this incredible logo on the front of the Live Coders there, and our sponsors. And there you go. So I think I should probably put this on for this stream, huh? I think that'd be fair. I'm usually adverse to putting on clothes straight from the factory, right? But I think this is probably okay. So let me hang this one back up and I'll put this shirt on. Okay, I'm going to put it on now. I'm going to turn off my camera real quick. When you see me struggle with getting this thing on my chunky body. But one other thing I changed, I think, is last year they said that the shirts run a little big, or they run a little big, so I got the XL last year. And I found that one to be a little small. I'm sure it has nothing to do with all the ice cream that I'm eating on a regular basis. So I went with a 2XL this year, so it's a little comfier. So there you go. There's a jersey. Ooh, look at that America flag on the side here. They asked us. I think they asked us what flag we wanted, and I said I'll go with the U.S. unless you have an Ohio flag. Put the Ohio flag on here. Over here we see Twitch, of course. Twitch team. So there you go. Live Coders jersey. This is a little blue thing here. That's interesting. It's like a little blue accent just around the neck. Huh. All right. Very exciting. So thank you very much, Live Coders, for this really cool bag of swag, and the shirt and the tee. Very cool. Thank you. I love it. And this is very comfy. I might wear this one on a regular basis. Very nice. And certainly this is something I would be proud to wear at conferences. Were there any conferences to go to? But perhaps I'll wear this on streams where I'm presenting. Very cool. All right. So let's zoom back down here to my normal size. Is that about right? Something like that? Where's the chat box? Yep, that seems about right. Okay. So Live Boxers uncoding is done. All right. Excellent. Let me put this away so I don't knock it over somewhere. I gotta put that pin. I'm gonna find that hat. I'm gonna show you my hat with all the pins on it. It's somewhere around here. I may have left it out in the garage because, like I said, I use it for yard work. It's a pith hat, but it's better for keeping the sun off my head than a normal baseball cap. Okay, well, it's 11:17, so I think we've got some time to integrate Azure Functions with a Slackbot. I don't think this is too difficult. So let's bring up Visual Studio here. And we're going to do a new project. And Azure Functions, yes. And we're going to call this a Slack Azure Functions test. You know, this occurred to me. The abbreviation for Azure Functions is AF. I don't know if I want a project called Slack AF. Slack Azure Functions Spike. So we're finally getting to coding, and it's going to be some C# and Azure, which is technically, I think this is running on ASP.NET on Azure, but we don't actually see the details of that. All right, and it's going to be a timer, and that schedule is fine, and storage emulator is fine. I'm just going to do this locally. There's no reason to deploy it out to actual Azure yet. So this is another way you can try to save money with Azure in development, is if you can do it locally and emulate it locally. That's great. Just like with Couchbase, for instance, you can install it and run it locally. You don't have to run it in the cloud. It's not a cloud-only database. You can run it in your own data centers, in production, for instance. You can run it in a VM. You can run it in Docker, anything like that. So Azure Functions I can run completely locally. I'm not even going to have to enter my Azure credentials at all to run it and test it and work on it locally and try it out. So we tried out the timer thing before. We had a little struggle with the actual cron string because it seems like it's not standard. I have to look into that some more. But this is every 5 minutes, I believe, is what this string means. And it's just going to log some information to the console. Don't need that. What I want to do is I want to write a message to Slack. Rudix World with Couchbase has a yes. You like Couchbase there, Rudix World? You a big fan? It's on the back of my jersey. Oh, you can't see it because of the chair. Couchbase. There it is. That's my name. Just call me Couchbase. My name is Steve Couchbase. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, Rudix World. Good to see you. Anyone else who's just sort of lurking, there is a bang lurk command you can use to just, hey, let me know that you're lurking, that you're hanging out. A Rudix World is a CouchDB, PouchDB user. Well, that's great. Those are cool. Nothing to do with Couchbase, though, really. They're separate things. Couchbase kind of came about as the merger between CouchDB and another tool called Memcache, or Membase. And they became Couchbase. And that's the history of Couchbase. So it's not really, that was a long time ago. So there's some bits of CouchDB still left inside of Couchbase, but it's not It's not a fork of CouchDB or anything like that. And PouchDB used to be supported, not supported, but it used to work with the Couchbase mobile stack. I think you can still get it to work if you want to. It's just a little bit more hoops to jump through if you want to sync your PouchDB databases to Couchbase server via Sync Gateway. Still possible. Okay, so I want to write some messages to Slack. Doesn't this GraphQL, the world is going on, concerns you? Don't quite understand that. I'm having trouble parsing that. GraphQL doesn't concern me, no. Why would it? Not at all. I'm not much of a GraphQL user, but GraphQL seems like kind of an alternative or a different way of a front end interacting with a back end, as opposed to a REST API or OData or SOAP or anything like that. So GraphQL is another tool in the toolbox that fits some situations quite well. I have no problem with GraphQL. Doesn't concern me. What does concern me right now is how do I get this thing to talk to Slack? And I've done this in the past. Let me just take a peek here, see if I have any of that code left over. See which library I used. It was Slack API. So I'm going to bring in Slack API here as a NuGet package. So let me ask you this, Rudix World. Does GraphQL, the world is going on, concern you? And if so, why? So Slack API is a .NET library that wraps, it's a wrapper for direct interaction with the Slack APIs. This is just kind of a convenient way of interacting with Slack from C# or .NET. It's not officially something that Slack has officially created. It's a community project. Again, with this verified. I've verified my email with GitHub a long time ago. But this one is relatively up to date. 4 months ago was the last sort of round of updates, so this seems to work. So I'm going to go with that. I could use it directly, by making REST calls or things like that, but it's more work. So I'd rather go with this library. Let's see, job market basically. Never seen an offer with CouchDB or Couchbase. Well, again, so they're two different things. So I wouldn't expect a job offer for CouchDB to be related to Couchbase and so on. However, I see a job, I don't know about offers. That's different than a job listing. I see listings that are looking for Couchbase skills all the time. In fact, one of the things that I do here at Couchbase is we send out a newsletter to developers every month. And one of the parts of that newsletter is we try to highlight what we think are interesting postings that involve or mention Couchbase. And we only throw 3 or 4 out every month. Some of the ones that are larger companies that are more interesting positions, or the newer positions, things like that. So, but there's lots of them out there. Yeah, if you're looking for something that if you have Couchbase skill and you're looking for a job, go check it out. NPM is using CouchDB right. So you're talking about the NPM JS website, right? I think at one point they're using CouchDB. I don't know because, again, I don't use CouchDB. I use Couchbase. I work for Couchbase. And CouchDB is part of the Apache Foundation. So it's entirely possible that NPM is using CouchDB behind the scenes. I don't know. NPMJS.com is using CouchDB behind the scenes. I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody that is knowledgeable about CouchDB. All right, so I've got the Slack API library added. Did I add it? Yes, I did add it. Okay, so how do I use it? Trying to remember. So I've got some examples here. Really, I just wanted to just throw a hello world message. Can you quick course Couchbase? Can I quick course Couchbase? Couchbase is a NoSQL document database distributed. It's designed for clustering and horizontal scaling. Here is if I can't type in administrator. Here is Couchbase server running on my local Windows machine. You can have buckets, and each bucket can contain data, so contain a list of documents. So this bucket here has 2 documents, and each document has its own unique key and then some JSON data in them. So this is probably similar to your knowledge of CouchDB, right? In that you have JSON documents that have keys, and they're in buckets and so on. One thing that sets Couchbase apart from pretty much any document database, almost any document database that I know of, is we can write SQL in it. So with CouchDB, you would write something like, I don't know, a Mango query or a MapReduce query. With Couchbase, you can use SQL. No, there is no underscore ID. Underscore ID, you can use it if you want to, but it's not a magic key in a Couchbase. The key is actually separate. It's metadata of the document. So if I look in here, this is the actual document, and this is metadata. So if I go to metadata here, you can see the ID is the metadata, along with revision, expiration date, and so on. So that's maybe one kind of superficial difference between Couchbase and others, is that the key is not part of the document itself. It's metadata about the document. But yeah, SQL is one of my favorite things about Couchbase. I can write SQL. I've written SQL my whole career, literally. And so it's nice to take that same skill set and apply it to a NoSQL database. So it's still JSON data behind the scenes. Well, not behind the scenes. It's still JSON data. But I can still write SQL queries against it. And that includes joins, it includes unions, aggregates, subqueries, common table expressions, window functions, blah, 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 all that stuff. So you can single query similar to GraphQL. I don't know what single query is, but so again, GraphQL isn't necessarily designed for databases. There are a few out there that are starting to experiment with GraphQL as a language, but GraphQL is meant to be something that is passed from a client over to a server, and the server itself might turn around and use SQL, for instance, or use the Mongo query language, or something like that. What is this image you're all looking at? Oh my gosh. Holy cow, Surly Dev, what are you doing in my chat? You trying to paste an image? What are you doing? That's a tea infuser that's shaped like a manatee? Manatee. Oh. Surly Dev, I'm going to just revoke your everything. You're fired. You're fired. This is what happens when they hear this Couchbase spiel. They've heard it before, so they're like, oh, let's go look up some sort of terrible pun. The advantage there, GraphQL, is that you can send single post requests combining all queries. Certainly, Rudix World, that is a good advantage for sending data across the wire. Absolutely. But again, I think we're talking apples to oranges here. So GraphQL is been proven to be a good language to query an API for data, where you only want a limited number of fields. You don't want to necessarily return the whole document, or you don't want to create an endpoint for every single variation. So GraphQL is kind of the reason for that. But that does not mean behind the scenes you're using GraphQL as your database query language. A GraphQL query could be, received by the API, and you could turn around and go and make a REST request, or go and make a SQL query, or go and make oh, hey, call me Ang Habo. Okay, Ang Habo, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So, GraphQL could be what the front end is using to make requests to the back end. The back end itself could turn around and make any number of requests. But to your point, yes, I could turn this into a join or a union and sort of unify everything into a query, and I don't have to select star. I can see, I can say default. I can say d.click and just select the one field, right? But as I can see, you can do the same with Couchbase. Yes, you can do a SQL query with Couchbase, but this doesn't mean that I would use SQL as the language at the client side. I wouldn't I wouldn't have my JavaScript application issue SQL queries to my backend, right? I would have that tier in the middle there. I have the front end, the API, and the database. So the front end may use GraphQL, it may use REST or SOAP or whatever, or gRPC for that matter, and it makes a request to the API. And the API puts some, yes, security around it, some logical checks, some processing, lots of stuff for the back end. And then it may or may not request to the database or to other sources of data, APIs, and so on. So I think what you're getting at Rudix World is you're kind of thinking of apps as two-tier. You have a front end and a database. And so that may work in some cases. I'm not going to judge, but most apps, in my experience, that's not going to work. You got to have some sort of logic in the middle, security, integration, all kinds of things that middle tier is going to provide for you. Let's see what we got here. We got an Amazon link here to Mr. T. Mr. T. Oh gosh. Hey, Frevelman, cheers. What would you recommend as a first small personal project? I just started with Java and want to build something personal. So you're talking about in general. You're not talking about Couchbase. You're talking about you want to learn coding. Hey, thank you for the follow, Frevelman. Or is it Frevelman? Right. So Rudix World, you're talking about a couch app, which is a specific kind of architecture that you basically just query CouchDB directly. To each their own on that one. Although I think there are some changes going down in CouchDB that they're trying to move away from that architecture. So you may want to keep an eye on that. Anyway, so Frevelman's question, what would you recommend as a first small personal project? Just start with Java and want to build something personal. Well, I don't know, chat. What do you think? Maybe everyone else in the chat. What would be your suggestion for a personal project? Frevelman, I think if you're just starting to learn coding, I'd keep it simple. But yeah, I think what are your personal interests? Like, what are your hobbies? What are the things that interest you? Like, if I were starting to learn coding, I might be interested in doing something with baseball. So I maybe build myself a site to query baseball stats, or to show baseball stats, or to keep score of a baseball game, for instance. A database app to store your inventory of tea infusers, perhaps. Yes, if you're a tea infuser collector. Yeah, find a small problem you want to solve. It doesn't have to be a problem. You don't have to. If you're just learning code, you don't have to come up with a problem that has never been solved before. Just think of something that you would find useful and fun, because then you can think of yourself as, well, these are the requirements that I want as a person. How do I go and build that? I would like to build a calendar where I can put notes in and alerts, but I thought that is really hard because I need an interface. Well, so if you don't want to learn interfaces or design or anything just yet, that's okay. You can think of it, you can just create a really simple text-based interface. If you want to, it's totally fine. Yeah, simple but with enough complexity, learning something new. Yeah, a to-do list. It's not really a problem that's never been solved before, but that might be a good place to start. And just say, well, if I can create a to-do list, well, then I can slightly think about that differently and modify that. Well, now each item on the to-do list has a date, and so now it becomes something like a calendar, and I can put in notes, things like that. Oh, Frevelman, I appreciate that comment. Yeah, this is a channel. I say right at the beginning, this is a question-friendly channel. There is no such thing as a stupid question in here. So please, anything you have in mind, go ahead and ask it. We're happy to help. At least I am. I don't know about Surly Dev. He's pretty surly. A database to store all the clips that you have. I'm surprised you didn't take a clip of me banging my head on the microphone just now with his terrible pun. Seems like a surly thing to do. Not enough storage on your laptop for that database. Well, Surly Dev, if you're having trouble with scale and you need a database to handle scale, let me tell you about a database for you. Couchbase, horizontal scaling. You can add as many nodes as you need to store all your clips. Rudix World, how does Couch related architectures scale. This syncing I don't get. So again, Rudix World, if you're talking about CouchDB, I'm not really the one to answer that question. I don't use much CouchDB. I've played with like version 2 back in the day. I think they're on version 4 right now. If you're asking about Couchbase's architectures and syncing, I can certainly talk about that. If I tried to talk about CouchDB, I just end up Googling it and just reading what's on the screen. Bravo on tying the squirrel back to what you're talking about. Is that what I just did? Yeah, so Couchbase, if you're talking about syncing, there's, what do you mean by syncing? So do you mean syncing like from a mobile database to a data center? Or do you mean like syncing between different data centers? Like if I have one out east, one out in the west, I can sync between data centers? Or some other kind of syncing? Because one thing Couchbase does well is it's really good at syncing. It's like one of its main features is if you want data synchronized, Couchbase is up to the task. He is surly. That is a nice one. Is it? I don't think so. I'm just literally reading his name. He really is nice, but this is terrible jokes. Does syncing is the actual scale, or this is diff? Going to need a little more clarification on that, Rudix. I don't quite understand. I can tell you two different. Let's just talk about two different types of syncing. Oh, Gamalor, I didn't know that Couchbase is good at syncing. It can also sync to mobile clients. Yes, it can. So let's just see if I can find a good graphic of this. Couchbase mobile is what we're talking about here. Yep, there's the clip from Surly Dev. Let's see, where's a good image of it here? But Couchbase mobile basically is what we're talking about. And so you have to get your mobile screen replaced. Oh no, what happened? I hope everything's okay, TBD Gamer. But thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you hanging out. Have a good one, TBD. Yeah, so Couchbase Mobile, it's three parts really. It's Couchbase Lite, and these all can work independently, by the way. But Couchbase Lite, which is a database that runs on your device, your mobile phone, could be a laptop, could be a tablet, could be, a number of different platforms are supported there. But let's just say a mobile phone. And that by itself, it can work as a database just on your phone, like a replacement for SQLite sort of thing, or for core data. And you start throwing NoSQL data into Couchbase Lite. The second part then is Sync Gateway. So this is where the syncing comes into play. So I have some data on my phone, and I have some data in the data center, and I want that data to be synchronized, either one way or two way. So if I set up Sync Gateway, that sits on the edge, the so-called edge, I guess. Well, what do people consider the edge these days? Anyway, that sits in a data center, the edge of a data center, let's say. And that will synchronize data between the phone and the data center. And like I said, it can be one way or two ways. And this is something that I actually was on a project before I came to Couchbase, that we decided to build our own version of a mobile syncing data framework. And it sounds simple at first. We're just going to sync data up. But once you get into it, it's a real goat rodeo with all the edge cases and the conflicts and just the actual plumbing of it. It is a headache to do. And it took us 8 to 10 months to get something that kind of mostly worked. And I wish I knew about, it might not have been around back then, but I wish I had known about Couchbase synchronization, Couchbase Sync Gateway back then. It would have saved us an incredible amount of time. Syncing is hard, Gamalor. I agree. People maybe think it's not that hard, take it for granted, but you worked at a sync engine on a previous company. And Gamalor, in the past, we've done some DB4.0 stuff, and synchronization is hard there too. Rubik's World. So you add nodes to scale. Isn't single node enough for heavy used site? Well, it depends. So with Couchbase Server, now we're back to Couchbase Server. It's a clustered database system, and you can run single node. And in fact, that's what I'm doing with my chatbot right now. It's a single node out there in Azure. And you can add nodes to scale out. And your question, isn't single node enough for heavy use sites? Well, probably not. It depends what you mean by heavy use site. So if you go to couchbase.com/customers, pretty much every one of these customers here on Couchbase is not using a single node, as far as I know. So cars.com, for instance. You can talk to people at CenterEdge, who do a lot of the .NET's open source work. Brant Burnett, Concur, DirecTV, eBay, Gannett, who do a lot of the content for many online newspapers, including USA Today. LinkedIn has a huge amount of Couchbase nodes out there to scale for lots of different stuff. eBay's been a long time Couchbase customer. Same with PayPal. Marriott, and I believe that Marriott is using Couchbase for their loyalty program, which I think is called Bonvoy these days. Yes. This is a clip I love. Surly Dev, thank you very much for that. Who else is interesting on here? United, Verizon, Viber. Yes, they are all running multiple nodes of Couchbase, if not multiple clusters. Certainly LinkedIn is running multiple clusters of Couchbase. Maybe look for some benchmarks. I mean, there's some benchmarks. We've got some. So Couchbase benchmarks. What are they called? YTSB. If you're interested in that, couchbase.com/benchmarks. So if you like benchmarks, if you like YCSB, here's the stuff here. I'm always skeptical of benchmarks. Rudix World. The other place I would look for benchmarks are Couchbase. These I find very interesting. If you go to showfast.sc.couchbase.com, and you can see Couchbase benchmarks of like the current build versus older builds. These I find very interesting and useful because you can see the changes. And 7.0 is not even released yet, by the way. So these are just kind of, you can see 6.6 is not released yet either. But you can see, like for instance here, we've got two nodes, 50/50 read-write load, 512 bytes for each JSON item, and then a batch size of 1K. And trying to maximize the ops per second. So you can see like in 6.5, 2.6 million ops per second. You can see some of the current, these are all internal builds right now, but internal builds of 7.0, we got 3.6 million ops per second. So this is a really cool way. This is literally what benchmarks are for, is to compare this version to previous versions to see what effect changes have had on it. These other benchmarks, like YCSB, for JSON, for key value, and then, these TPC ones. These benchmarks, you can download the scripts for me, run them yourself. These compare Couchbase to Mongo and DataStax, which is just kind of like Cassandra.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Future 15 Mine. I appreciate that follow. I see you. I see that follow. These benchmarks, I'm always more skeptical of, because here's the thing with benchmarks. When you're comparing one piece of software to another, one vendor to another, is that look up here in the browser bar. What is this website? Couchbase.com. Is there any chance in the world that Couchbase.com would publish a benchmark where Couchbase wasn't the best in that benchmark? You see what I'm saying here? No way is Couchbase going to publish a benchmark that makes Couchbase look bad. Same for the competitors. You go to Mongo's site, I'm sure you can find some benchmarks there that show how great Mongo is and how much better it is than all of the competition. Same with DataStax. Now, I mean, the thing is, you can download these scripts so you can try them yourself. And so if you think these are valuable, you can go, I'd recommend you go and try them yourself. go through the process of running benchmarks and see yourself if it's better. Yeah, all the slower competition, right? So I'm always skeptical of benchmarks like these. I find these much more useful, but these don't say, hey, we're better than Mongo, or hey, we're better than DataStax. It just says, hey, we are working to improve Couchbase, and we're looking at benchmarks every day to see what the effect is of the changes we're making on our product, which is not a very exciting story for sales people to tell, or for, to share with the board or stockholders, or to show on marketing material, right? This is much more what you want to see in the marketing material is look at these histograms. Look how high Couchbase is up on the histogram. Aren't we great? So I'm skeptical of those, but not everybody is. And so you can get all the details about this. So how much hits can handle your chat app on a 512 RAM machine? Oh gosh. So that's a question that sounds simple, but how do you answer that? Because a chat app isn't a standard, right? What do we mean by chat app? So the closest thing I could tell you to that, if we go back to customers here, if we go down to Viber. Viber is a chat app that runs on Couchbase. So you can go and check that out. Maybe if you want to get some more detail about that, you can read the use case there, learn about Viber. But 512 RAM machine. So here's the thing. With Couchbase Server, the minimum recommendation for a node of Couchbase is 4 gig of RAM. Now, you could try running it on a smaller machine if you wanted to, but that's the minimum recommendation. And so Viber probably is using a multiple machine cluster of at least 3, but probably a lot more Couchbase nodes, probably in the dozen or so Couchbase nodes. But as you can see from ShowFast here, I don't have a 512 RAM machine. These are 2 nodes, you can see here, and these are key value operations. So if you're using key value interface, if you're using, say, 6.5.1, you could handle 2.6 million, let's say, hits if key value equates to a chat hit. Doesn't necessarily, because a chat message could be multiple hits, right? It could be, did I send the message? Did it get received? Is that reception confirmed? Was it read? So it could be 4 or 5 operations just for one chat message. But 2.6 million per second on a 2-node machine if your messages are 512 bytes. What do you think of DynamoDB? I think DynamoDB is a NoSQL document database running on AWS, and kind of similar pitfalls what we talked about with Cosmos a little bit earlier. In terms of, you got to be careful about indexing queries, because you could run into some billing problems. You lost me with minimum recommendations. So what does that mean, Rudix World? That 4 gig is too much? It's just asking too much? A 4 gig machine? And you're like, okay, that's too much, I'm out? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Minimum recommendations. That's very good feedback, Rudix World, because I don't hear that too often. What I'm looking for here. Let's go to docs. Docs.couchbase. I don't hear that feedback directly. It's just something we kind of assumed, but it's really good to hear that feedback directly. Minimum recommendation memory. I was talking about containers. I don't necessarily want to look at container. Here we go. Hardware and memory requirements. Right. So this is our minimum specification for a node of Couchbase Server. 2 gigahertz, dual core. Oh, that's interesting. Dual core. I think that used to be a 4-core, quad core. So I think that's gone down. 4 gig physical RAM and 8 gig of storage space. Yes, I'm associated with Couchbase. Yeah, I work for Couchbase. Absolutely. Yes. So this is the minimum. And I have run it, technically speaking, I'm running it right now. The chat app that's running right now is running in a lower machine than this. I think it's a single core. It's like 3.5 gig of RAM on Azure. And it's a single node. So I'm running below the supported minimum specifications. If I got much lower than that, it probably wouldn't work that well. But yes, that's the minimum recommendation for a single machine. And then, of course, as you have with Couchbase, you have multiple machines that you would network together in a cluster. So here, right here, this is what you can reduce the CPU and RAM for development and testing purposes. So as low as 1 gig of free RAM beyond operating system requirements, right? And a single CPU core. But for production support, this is what they're saying here. If you want support in production, you're going to have to follow those minimum specs. What about Couchbase Mobile? So Couchbase Mobile is 2 parts. It's Couchbase Lite and Couchbase Sync Gateway. So you're talking about the minimum specifications? I don't really know if those are kind of Couchbase Mobile. Couchbase Lite is what I'm looking for. Couchbase Lite minimum. Yeah, I don't know what that would look like. It shouldn't be so resource hungry. Okay. Well, I mean, Couchbase Server is a memory first architecture. It's designed, I mean, that's how we get this performance, this 2.6 million per second, is by being resource hungry. So that's kind of the trade-off there, is, memory's faster. But I kind of agree with you that there might be some things we could do to make, some flavor of Couchbase Server that's not as resource hungry. I don't know what that would look like. Can you run mobile on server? So you want to create your own Couchbase Server basically with Couchbase Lite as your database store. Don't think it's supported, but you could absolutely give it a try. I don't know if there's any minimum requirements for Couchbase Mobile. The difference is it's not the same API, right? So it's 2 different engines, Couchbase Lite and Couchbase Server. So not everything you can do on server you can do on mobile, on Lite, and vice versa, right? Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything like requirements here. I mean, generally speaking, it's designed to run on a mobile app, right? So it's typically not going to involve more than one person or one process interacting with it. Maybe some threading, some things like that, but it's not meant to deal with 1,000, 100,000 people hitting a website, right? So I don't think that would probably work that well if you wanted to try it. But there's nothing that's going to really stop you, right? If you can write a server in C#, Java, Objective-C, Swift, or Java for Android, then go for it. I think that would be great. I think it'd be a fun project to try. I would say go for it. But I'm not seeing anything in terms of like processor requirements. Just operating systems that support it, so .NET, iOS, and things like that. So, yeah, we're getting into some weird territory there. If you want to run mobile as a server, but I don't want to discourage you. If it sounds like something fun to you and you want to take it as a challenge, go for it. I would love to see the results of that. But thank you very much for that feedback, Rudix. I appreciate that. I'm going to pass that along for sure. We are coming short on time. I didn't get a chance to finish my Azure function. I got a meeting in 5 minutes, so I have to go, which is fine. This is totally fine. We have these little tangents. I think this was a valuable one. I want to go and raid somebody else on the team. So who shall we raid? I think since we got this package today, I haven't done it in a while, I think we should raid C# Fritz so I can get a chance to say thank you for the package. So I'm going to raid C# Fritz right now. I don't know if he's got much time left in the stream or not, but we'll go over there and say a quick hi. Appreciate you and copying and pasting. If you want to, this message, if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you can put in your own emotes or your own raid message, but just paste that into the chat and show Jeff C# Fritz some love. I will see you over there. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate the questions. Rudix World is really great. And I will be back on Thursday with special guest J.R. Lawhorn. You definitely don't want to miss that one. 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. I will see you then. Bye-bye.
That is good webcam. You can run with the webcam on your laptop just fine. We're getting raided, friends. Welcome in, Matthew D. Groves.